Hi guys, welcome to Chakra Sessions. I'm your host, Polly Jo Labbé. We are here today to talk about calming the waters of stress. I think that's a really cool thing for us to be working on at this moment because we head into the holiday season and lots of time our schedule is a little hectic. And the people around us, all of their schedules are a little hectic. And sometimes we're trying to shove too much into too little time. And when we have that, it can be really difficult on our energy body and on our health. It's why we get sick quite a bit in the holiday season. So hello, Robin. Welcome to the show. Glad to see you're here. Hi, Stephanie. Nice to have you. Yeah, today is about stress. I don't know about you guys, but Thanksgiving Day was mostly good. There was a little bit of shenanigans between a couple of family members, but it was what it was. But in general, it was a lovely day. And then I drove out to upstate New York with my mother to visit her side of the family, and we did an early Christmas, which can be a little stressful trying to do Christmas this early. And so it was definitely a little bit of running around and trying to get things accomplished. And I noticed the different ways that my mother and I handle stress. So maybe that way you guys can kind of look at how you handle stress, and we can look at where it is energetically in your body. So good morning, Christine. Nice to see you. The update on the card deck, if you are possibly interested, is I downloaded already 11 of the cards, the messages for 11 cards of the deck. So yeah, we should chat. It was really rapid and really quick, but it was one of those things that was ready to come in. So, you guys can help out by liking and sharing this broadcast so we can get it out to more people. Sometimes they just need the reminder that we're here and we're live today. I think a lot of people are experiencing stress or are about to as we head into the holiday season. Because as I said earlier, we often make commitments to a bunch of people and to do a lot of things, and then we start to go into this state of overwhelm. So this was really interesting. It was just my mother and I who were staying together. I drove the 7 hours from here to upstate New York. And then I literally still had to do shopping for 5 people for my mom's family. So we checked into the hotel. We went to Marshall's and did great. But I was very energetically open to what I needed was going to come to me quickly and easily. And that I wasn't going to have to work at it because I didn't have time. And not only did the gifts for those 5 people show up, but a number of other gifts that I could get for other family members were also there. So I took care of extra shopping that I wasn't expecting to. And then we went and had dinner and went to, the grocery store. And my mom had this idea that we were going to cook breakfast for her entire family, 10 people in our hotel room. And I was just of the energy that didn't make any sense, but she wouldn't hear what I was saying. So I just asked my spiritual team to talk to hers during the night while she was sleeping and see if they could come up with a better solution, like going out to breakfast. And I didn't even care if I had to pay for everybody. I just didn't want to have to do that. So my mom woke up and went, "Why am I stressing? I think we'll just take everybody out to breakfast." I was very, very thankful. And when we woke up the day on Sunday to actually get together for breakfast, we weren't meeting till 11. There was a number of things we had to do to make the hotel room large enough for people to come back and exchange gifts and play games and watch the football game. But it was minimal. But my mom had it all in her head and she wouldn't write it down. And so she was getting anxious and anxious and anxious. There wasn't going to be enough time. We weren't going to be able to get it done. And mind you, she's starting this around 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're not even meeting people till 11. And so she started spinning in her stress. And I said, okay, well, first of all, you don't have to do it alone. We're going to do it together, And she's like, well, I feel like I have to do it all alone. And so I said, all right, well, then let's just write it down so that we can cross things off the list and feel like we've accomplished things. So we made a list. I made a list because she needed to keep doing what she was doing. And, it was a short list. There was like 7 or 8 things on it. And so while she was working on the project that she was working on, she was making these little ornaments for the tree. I just started knocking things off the list. Moving a chair, moving a table, opening the plates and the napkins and stuff like that. So it was like really not a big deal. So in about 5 or 10 minutes, I had knocked off the entire list except for what she was working on. And then that stressed her out because she felt like it was a competition. And I just said, Mom, it's not a competition. And she said, well, I feel like it is. You got so much more done than me. And I said, well, what you were doing was more intensive. It took more time and you needed to have more thought and attention to it. Moving a chair doesn't take a lot of time and intention. So it was an interesting thing that she was holding on to the stress, even though everything was off the list. And I noticed that through the whole thing because I knew it was going to get done easily and gracefully. I wasn't stressed at all, even though we were in the same situation doing the same thing. And part of that stress that we go through in the holidays is we can get anxious about what is coming, and we aren't focused on what we're doing. I don't know if that makes sense to everybody. So when we are not in what is right in front of us, and we are worried about all the things that are coming, then we freeze energetically, kind of like you do in, freeze, flight. Oh my goodness, I can't even think of it. When you're under post-traumatic stress, somebody's going to have to help me out. Fight, flight, or freeze. That's it. When you can be in that mode when you are in stress. And when you get overwhelmed with stress, when that kicks in, most people will freeze. It doesn't always work to help you get things done. Now, the interesting thing is we are meant to have stress. Nobody is completely stress-free. We are meant to have it because when we have stress, it motivates us to get through things quicker, to accomplish things. It puts some urgency behind things that might need to be done a little more quickly. But we can literally feel stress for a second, a breath, and then go, oh, okay, I've got to do something to release this. Or we can sit in it and sit in it and sit in it. So Roberta says, hello, everyone. Love that. Leave it to the guides to help out. And here's the ironic thing, right? Because I'd set this intention before we even left, that I wanted this whole trip to go as smoothly and gracefully as possible. We got the front row parking space everywhere we stopped. When we stopped at the service areas, when we stopped at the restaurant, when we stopped at Marshall's to go shopping during Thanksgiving weekend, we got the front spot. We got the front spot in front of the hotel when we needed to unload. We got the front spot at the restaurant for breakfast. And it happened literally everywhere we went. Service areas, restaurants, stores, you name it, we got the front spot every time. And my mom noted, it took her 4 times before my mom noticed that it had happened. And she was like, wow, you're very lucky with parking spaces. And I said, no, Mom, I asked for this to go easily. And so because my mom has a little bit of difficulty with her hip, she needed to be parked close to wherever we were so that it wasn't stressful for her to do the walking that we needed to do. So this was so interesting that the amount of, you don't even realize the stress that you're holding on to when you're out in the future. And I just was very keenly aware of how quickly and how easily my team took care of things. And I had so much gratitude. I just kept saying gratitude. And the other thing is my team bended time. When you stay in the now, I don't know if you've done this or if you've noticed it, but when you're in the now, sometimes time can stretch. Like you get a ton done in like a half an hour. But when you're focused on the time, you can barely get anything done. They're like, oh no, I only have half an hour. So then you can only get 1 or 2 things done. But when you're focused on, let's see what I can get done, you'll get 4 or 5 things done in that same half an hour because your focus and your intention are on 2 different things. One is adding stress to your energy, and one is releasing stress from your energy. And we actually got to upstate New York. It takes 7 hours from my house. I've done this drive, I don't even know how many times, hundreds, since I was 5 years old. And it's always 7 hours, even when, including stopping and having a quick bite. And on the way out, I decided that we needed real food, not quick food, not like a sandwich. We needed to sit down and actually eat a meal. So we stopped and ate at a meal in a restaurant. And we got there in 6 hours with the restaurant, with the meal. And, even my husband, I texted him when I left, and he knew when we left, and then I texted him when he got there, and he goes, you should only be in Syracuse right now. And I said, I know, but we're here. And my team gave me some extra time. And I think because we were listening to a book and we were caught up in the book and we were just driving, and no, I wasn't going 90. I usually set it at a cautious, 72 to 75, because I don't want a ticket for the holiday. But yeah, we still got there in a shorter amount of time. It took us the 7 hours to get home. But that's the usual. So let me just check in and see who else is here. Hi, Neshi. Nice to see you. Good morning, Minnie. Thank you for liking and sharing. Hi, Abigail. Nice to see you. So, and thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, Star Nations Magazine. this has been such a blessing to write some really in-depth articles for Star Nations. And almost all the hosts that you see on Star Nations, we all write for the magazine as well. And so it gives us an opportunity to go in depth in something that maybe we can't on a regular show. So I really encourage you, and I have them here at the Trinity Healing Sanctuary so that people can see some really cool things that they want to learn or they want to know more about. And I have people borrow them now all the time. They'll borrow it because they want to read a particular article, and that is really neat for me. So thank you, Stephanie, for reminding us that. So with the stress in our bodies, we can hold on to stress in a whole bunch of different ways. And maybe you have an inkling of where you hold on to your stress. A lot of people hold stress in their belly. And because you get that butterfly feeling, or it gets squeezy or tight when you've got a lot to do. Or maybe it even affects your eating. It affects, how you process food. All of that can be impacted. Or maybe you're somebody who starts to have a little trouble breathing. Your breath gets shorter. It causes you anxiety. So you might have some pressure up in your upper chest, or you feel like you can't catch your breath. Other people, you may have stress, you feel it in the back of your neck and your head. That's where your tension headaches are, on your shoulders. Or you might have a whole combination of all of those things. But wherever we hang on to our stress, when we can bring our energy back into the moment, into the now, some of the stress will dissipate. Even though our list hasn't disappeared, our energy is not stretched into the future. And so we can use all of it in the moment. So if you think of your energy as like an elastic band, when you have it in the moment, you can use all of the rubber band, right? But when it's stretched, then you can only stretch it a tiny bit or it'll break, right? And isn't that how we feel when we're under a lot of stress, like that we're stretched to the limit and one more thing and we're going to break? And I noticed that happening to me a couple of weeks ago. I think that's why my team wanted me to talk about it now, because I just went through a very stressful time. Now, for me, the stress was that my schedule was really tight. And I really haven't had a day off, more than a day off, in months now. I haven't had a whole weekend off since October. And even in October, I taught for Star Nations and I took a course. So I used up my weekends. So I had one weekend where I didn't have anything to do. And I don't have another weekend until the end of December. So I was feeling really undone because I only was having a half of Monday off for a number of weeks in a row. And so my inner child was so cranky. And so because of that, my energy, I got stuck in the past of I've done so much, and in the future of I have so much to do, and then I couldn't focus in the now. So my team was like, bring everything back into the breath, and we'll help you do everything that you need to do with ease and grace. And even I will forget to ask my team to come in and help me out because my list looks a little daunting. And I can look at my list, from now until Christmas and go, okay, but I can only focus on right now, if that makes sense to you guys. So where do you hold stress in your body? Where do you notice it? And is it all work related? Is it family related? Is it self-imposed? Because all of those have a different flavor, and they all impact our energy flow in a different way. And so I would love to address what is more popular for different people. I'm going to make a little bit of clearing because we got some energy to move. So we have all just made it through, Thanksgiving, and maybe there was stress going into Thanksgiving, or maybe the stress was on Thanksgiving, or maybe it was because you just spent like 3 or 4 days with family, and that was your stress. Like you could hold it for a certain amount of time, but then it got pushed. Or is work deadlines what stresses you out? And if you're somebody who's lucky enough not to have that much stress in your life, how does it influence you when people around you are in this stress mode? Because we can't help it right now, but when we go to the grocery store, we go to, an appointment, we go to work, other people are stressed out by their schedules and the fact that they've probably overbooked themselves. So let me know what you guys think about that, because I would love to see that, love to hear that. Sorry, I'm going to clear for a little bit. So let's talk about the stress in your neck, the one that causes headaches. We'll start there. So when you have a lot of things on your plate, responsibilities, sometimes they feel like burdens, that energy sits right on top of your shoulder blades, right at the base of your neck. Now, if you are balanced, if you feel comfortable with what you've taken on for responsibility, your shoulders will be able to stay down. They'll be able to feel comfortable, and there won't be any tension running up to your neck or down into the back of your heart, in between your shoulder blades. But when we take on a little bit more than we would like to, often our shoulders start to creep up because we're trying to protect our voice from taking on more energy than we can handle. And lots of times this happens when you just instinctively say yes to something because, you love someone and they ask you to do something and you say, oh, sure, of course I'll do that for you. But then 10 minutes later, when they've walked away, you realized, oh my gosh, I can't fit that into my schedule. And most of the time we don't go back and say, I'm sorry, I looked at my schedule and I really can't manage that. We just try to do it anyways. And when we do that, then we're mad at ourselves. And then we're also resentful. Resentful for the person asking sometimes, and sometimes we resent ourselves for not thinking it through before we said yes, because it was just an impulse and instinct. And notice how there's anger and resentment, right? That can happen when you overburden or commit yourself. So the overcommitment part sits on your shoulders. The anger, the resentment, that sits in your belly. And when that happens, you get the nice combination of burbly stomach and tension, headache, stress in your neck, right? And we all know this. We've had periods when we've done this. Because when we were in school, right, lots of times we would get to the end of a quarter or end of a semester, And the teachers would realize, oops, I don't have enough tests, or I don't have enough reports from these kids so that I can actually give them a decent grade. So they throw extra work at you at the end to make up for it, because they're like, oops, I want to make sure that they do X, Y, Z. And they throw all this energy at them, right? All of this stuff. But every single teacher does it. So instead of it just being like one teacher asking for one more assignment, it's like 6 teachers asking for 6 more assignments. And then the kids start to get all stressed out, and then their stomach hurts and their neck hurts, and then they can't breathe, right? And you start to have anxiety and panic, and then we get sick, right? Because our body can't even manage all that stress, so we get sick. Oh, I love this. Abigail is saying, awesome, with the tears running down. And Neshi says, oh, geez, I need to be here for this info today. Yeah, Neshi, you and I know how to do stress, right? Actually, we do to a degree, because we both have a lot going on, right? But lots of times we're able to manage that easily and gracefully. But life isn't like that, right? People get sick. You need to, you might need to take your mom to the doctor when you weren't expecting it. I might need to, squeeze in a client who's not doing well, or, something might break, like the copier might break. So then I've got to have an extra trip where we go to Staples and get copies made and then come back. It's extra time. That is one of the things that actually stress me out. Now she says, we manage stress like a boss. We do most of the time, we do. But Abigail will tell you stories about times when I've overdone me. And believe it or not, we had a Staples that was probably 10 minutes from here, from the sanctuary. So whenever we needed something last minute, we had this place where we could run and we could grab it. And then about a year ago, they closed our Staples. Now, there's a Staples in 3 different directions, but each of them are a half an hour away. So a half an hour to go, a half an hour to come back, and then the time it takes to actually get those things. Now, it added all this extra stress, because it wasn't a quick 5-10 minute run down the road. It was, an hour and a half that you had to plan into your schedule just to take care of one little thing. Right? And so I didn't realize how much I relied on that to reduce my stress. So now it's going, okay, if I don't have it nearby, now what do I do? What do we do to shift it so that it doesn't put extra stress on me? So thank goodness they have the, if you're a business owner, they have the next day shipping that you can have it shipped to you and it'll be there the next day. Because I've started doing that. Okay, it'll be here tomorrow. I won't have it right this second, but it'll be here tomorrow. Doesn't take care of the copying needs. I'm still working on a new copier, because getting a new copier will reduce my stress, right? So Abigail's saying, then we just put you all back together again. Yes. Abigail is one of the people who helps put me back together when my stress goes bonkers. And it's that type of thing where you get caught up in that to-do list of what needs to happen, and you're not in the moment and you're not in the now. So when you don't manage your stress well, and every single person on the planet has a time when you don't manage stress well, it will start to move into your energy body more closely. So it usually starts by affecting your mental thought process. So you get spinning in the what ifs and how can I do this and when am I going to be able to have time? You get all spinning, which is the third layer of your aura. The mental beliefs, thoughts, and patterns are in the third layer. And so when that gets all filled up with all the spinning from the stress, then it moves in a little closer and it starts to impact all your emotions. You start to, get teary, you start to get angry or resentful or frustrated, and then that gets all saturated. When that gets saturated, it moves into your physical body and you start to have stomach pains, you start to have neck pains, you have headaches, you have pressure on your shoulders, pain in your back. And if that happens and you still haven't managed it, then it starts to deplete your whole immune system. And that's when we start to actually get sick. And that's part of the reason why we get sick at the holiday season, is because we have so much stress on our system. We're not very good at managing it. And we definitely, we think we can do it all. And we say yes to too much. And when we do all of those things together, our body goes, I quit. I can't handle this. I need a nap. And it makes sure that you get a nap by giving you a fever or whatever. So Roberta says, I choose no family members with crazy energy could change my calm space this year. And positive energy was so nice. Thank you for that guidance. Yes, isn't it great? We did that to a degree. There was one little hiccup, and really it was me setting a boundary. We have a family member who likes to have, debates about things, often about politics. And I'm a house where we don't have the news on. And I don't mind a good debate between people when they're actually listening to each other. But when people are talking just to talk and not to listen, then it gets a little uncomfortable. So there was a debate that started. It actually started about, we were talking about, for my son and daughter-in-law doing they do vegan lifestyle. That's how they eat, that's how they live. And making Thanksgiving for them was an interesting thing because I had to be really hyper aware of what they could have and what they couldn't have. And the amount of things that say may contain milk, and trying to avoid that. So we were having a conversation about that, and it spun into this debate, which I wouldn't have minded, except it got louder and louder. And one person in the debate was not listening to the other person. And so it escalated, and I stepped in and said, enough, we're done. We're not talking about this anymore. If we can't do this in a civil way, we're not going to do this. And I went to step away, and the one person just started again. And I said, no, I mean it. We're not doing this. This is a family time. We're here to enjoy each other's company. This is what I want. Because I wanted a stress-free Thanksgiving. And I stepped away, and they started again. And so the other person in the conversation said, look, she asked for one thing, and so I'm going to honor it. And they stepped away. So it was really more of a boundary setting. The person wasn't happy about it initially, but it made it clear that we were here to have a good time. We were here to enjoy each other's company. It didn't have to be like that. So, it could have gotten up, but everybody was feeling really uncomfortable. People were leaving the room. That's how loud it got. It wasn't that it was just that they were having a good spirited debate. All right, so next she said, I just did the pressure release valve last Friday. My body said, stop. I was so tired, fatigued. I went to sleep for 14 hours. Yay! I felt great on Saturday. Yay! I'm so glad you slept. You were running on empty. So let's do a stress relief healing right now. Let's do a meditation. You can figure out where you hold your stress, or maybe you hold all of the above. But let's release some of the stress, and just remember, when you have stress come in, do your best to get yourself in the moment now, not worried about what will be. And if you need to, write it down on a piece of paper, or write it in your phone on a note, and allow yourself space to because that'll ground the energy. It will get out of your mental space, so it'll be out of that third layer of the aura, and you'll just be in your energy. So believe it or not, just writing down your list and checking it off can keep you in the moment now. Even if as you're doing things, you add more things to the list, you can be thankful for everything that you let go of and everything that you take care of. All right? All right. So get yourself nice and comfy.
Yeah.
I'm going to make clearing noises that sound like that, or may sound more hiccupy. And that's just me releasing energy for the entire group. I don't know who the energy is releasing from. I just know that as a whole, I do the healing on the group as a whole, everyone who is watching now, everyone who will watch in the future, and we release that energy. So make sure that your arms and your legs are uncrossed so that you are, nice and grounded and comfortable. We don't want to cross any circuits because we want the energy to just flow.
Yeah.
And we're going to begin by calling in the divine energy, however you perceive that, to come in and connect with you, connect with us. Whether you experience the divine as God, as goddess, as creator, all that is, oneness, consciousness, simply want to bring in the divine. And we're going to ask the divine to surround and protect us in a bubble of infinite love and infinite light, so that we can feel safe and secure. And if that doesn't feel like enough, you can ask for a second bubble to be put around the room or the space that you're in, just to give you a second layer of protection. And remember, the bubble goes all the way into the earth as well. It doesn't sit just on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now call in your spiritual team, your guides, your angels, your ancestors, any of your animal totems, your mystical creatures or star beings, all divine, of the highest, fullest, and brightest vibration available to you in this moment. And don't be shy. Invite in your whole team, not just those that you know. Our team is expansive, and we don't want to leave any energy out that might be helpful for us today.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to begin to bring the divine energy down to our crown, to the top of our head, and just take a moment of awareness. Do you feel pressure, light, tingling, heat, cold? Or do you just have a knowing that the energy is right there waiting to connect to you? And there's no right answer, for we all experience the divine in our own unique way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now begin to call the energy down into your third eye, into your forehead, and quiet any of those worrisome thoughts. Anything that you're obligated to do in the near future, And just bring yourself back into the breath and back into the moment now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And just open up the channels of communication with your spiritual team, all of the ways that you can communicate. Through hearing, through seeing, through messages, through patterns, through others, through knowing, through feeling. Each and every way you are meant to connect with your team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then bring the energy into the throat and really open up your ability to speak your authentic truth, to feel comfortable expressing yourself fully and completely. Opening the ability to say no when you need to. And only say yes when you actually mean it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also being okay with someone saying no to you when they need to say no. Not taking it personally, but just understanding that that is their truth as well.
Yeah.
For as we speak it, we give others permission to speak it as well.
Yeah.
And now focus on the back of your neck and all the energy from the base of your skull down to your shoulders, where you've held on to tension, stress, worry, anxiety, overwhelm, resentment. And just gently allow the divine energy to slowly dissolve that energy so you no longer have to hold it and carry it in that way. Filling that spot with divine support and assistance so that you don't feel like you're the only one who's able to accomplish things, that you can do it with your spiritual team, and they will guide you to a team of helpers who can help you in the physical plane as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then moving onto your shoulders and just balancing out your responsibilities and releasing any energy that feels like a burden or any responsibility that you took on for someone else that really isn't yours. Just energetically see if you can release that or lovingly hand it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're meant to carry it, then let's shift the energy to being happy that you are able to hold and do the responsibility, so that you are treating yourself with loving kindness as well, not blaming yourself for overstretching, overreaching, overburdening.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
There we go. Lovely. And moving into the back of the heart, in between the shoulder blades, and just really clearing any ways that you have used your will to push through things. And really fill in your back with, again, more love and support from your spiritual team and the divine.
Yeah.
Knowing that you will manage and accomplish everything that you are meant to, and that anything that gets left behind is not needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And focusing inside the heart and really releasing all of the blame that you've been holding on to around taking on too much or doing too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any disappointment you're holding on to about not doing everything perfectly.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And giving space for your inner child to feel like they have room to stretch. Because they often get really squeezed into a corner. No room for play, no room for fun when we take on too much stress. And then they get cranky and tired and hungry.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And releasing your inner adult from this sense of having to do everything all the time. And just giving them some space to say no and some space to be okay with actually just taking time off to have fun or to relax or to nap.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And releasing any energy that the warrior is holding onto, the urgency or the life or death feeling that we might have around getting a task accomplished.
Yeah.
When it usually isn't life or death to actually finish or complete on an absurd schedule.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And also opening up our inner sage elder, the part of us that can give us the wisdom on how to delegate, how to stretch time to get things done, how to call in our divine helpers,
Yeah.
and ways to keep our breath steady and focused and our intention focused,
Yeah.
using all the wisdom of the ages to help us with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And moving into the belly and the third chakra and really focusing on the fear energy that comes up when we're worried about completing things or getting things done in time. And whether we turn that fear into anxiety
got it, got it, got it,
or whether we spin it into worry,
got it, got it, got it,
or maybe we get angry at ourselves
got it,
or frustrated with others.
got it, got it,
Are resentful of those who manage their schedule and energy easier than we do,
got it,
or jealous.
got it, got it,
And all the ways our inner critic gets noisy, puts us down, makes us feel small, like we're not good enough.
got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it,
And all the ways that we activate our adrenals and activate that fight, flight, and freeze response. And gently bringing that calm back to center.
got it,
And releasing the life or death energy that sometimes gets attached to a simple task at hand.
got it, got it, got it,
And then moving down into our second chakra and really bringing our energy of emotions back into flow, back into balance, so that we can use that flow to help things move quickly and easily and with grace. But if we hold back our water energy, then that causes hesitations and stalling of energy and of movement in completion.
got it, got it,
Really asking the water energy to calm within us and in all our relationships with others, so that when their stress is activated, it doesn't activate the stress within us. It remains separate.
got it, got it,
There's no need for us to absorb it or clear it or take it on for someone else. We get to sit in our own sacred container,
got it, got it, got it,
and then opening up the pelvic floor and our hips so that the energy flows in our physical life and our spiritual life equally.
got it, got it, got it,
Giving us room for flexibility so that we can roll through the stress easily. And really clearing out the root chakra near the tailbone and noticing when stress activates anything around our feeling safe or secure. And instead allowing it to be grounded and rooted in stability, in support from our work, from our family, and also creating a sacred space for ourselves in our home where we can release anything we've picked up during the day, any stress we held on to, so it can fall off of our bodies and give us a place to sleep easily and fully. no matter how many hours we get, that we can wake up each morning feeling rested and ready to go if we need to.
Got it.
And letting that energy connect really far down beneath us into the earth. So imagine it going all the way to the molten lava center. Whether you connect through roots or through a cord to Mother Earth, but really allowing your energy to connect to that. Because when we carry too much stress, we disconnect from our earthly body. And it is actually when we are most grounded and most connected that things happen most easily. And it is easiest for our spiritual team to help us and connect with us when we are most deeply connected to the center of the earth.
Got it.
Beautiful. And just feel the stress energy falling off your shoulders, your neck, your belly, your heart, your hips, your legs, and just gently going down into the earth. Releasing all the tension in the back of the neck and just allowing it all to flow downward. Now take a couple of deep breaths and really allow your lungs to fill up, to bring your heart beat back into balance, to breathe in fully and completely.
Got it.
And take a moment of gratitude for your spiritual team for showing up for you each and every moment, but especially now to help remind you that you're not in this alone ever.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
And you can gently begin to dissolve your meditation and come back into the moment. I'm going to grab a sip of my coffee. All right. So there you have it. How does your energy feel now compared to when we started? Even if you didn't know you were holding on to something stressful, maybe just the release of energy, it's giving you more space and more room to do what you need to do without getting all revved up about it. And, you know, there are many ways that we sabotage ourselves around our stress and our to-do list. And part of it has to do with taking care of yourself first. So you need to write down write down. My team is like very clear. You need to write it down. What you need for you to fill you up every day. So for me, I need time every morning to connect with my spiritual team. I need time to journal. And I need time to savor my first cup of coffee. And that may seem strange, but when I have to rush first thing in the morning, I end up headachy and tired and cranky pretty quickly. But when I have that time in the morning, and it's, I love to stretch if I have time, but if I don't have my cup of coffee and I don't sit and connect with my team and I don't get a chance to journal what has come through to me as messages in the during my sleep, then I'm trying to hold all of that in my brain. So my brain's already partially full of things to remember. And so my stress already starts. just because I didn't do those few rituals for myself in the morning. So make sure that you take the time to do whatever you need to do first thing in the morning, right? And then if you need to, take a nap every day, then take a nap every day if that's what fills you up. If you need time every night to, do your favorite thing, knitting is what's coming to mind. If you need time to do knitting or you need time to read a book to just calm and center yourself in the moment, get yourself back to now before you go to bed, then that's what you need to do. And we all have our own things of personal care. But if we don't take care of ourselves every single day, then our stress starts to go up like that. And this is a time when everybody around us, or a lot of people around us, are having difficulty managing their own stress. So I really encourage you to figure out what you need to do for you so that you can start off your day, each and every day, filled completely up. And then have those things to do when you start to feel the stress building. Maybe it's take a walk. Maybe it's exercise. Maybe it's play a couple games on your phone to sort of get your attention back to now. Whatever it is, you just want to make sure that you do that for you. And so I want to remind you guys, so thank you for being here with me today. I want to remind everybody that Neshi's card draw is today at 3. This is our Powerful Tuesday. And then she also has her show tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Communications from Home. I'm not sure what she's doing tonight, but maybe Neshi, you could type that in. I'm thinking the Unity Breath, but I don't know that I'm accurate on that. I was not on Facebook very much this weekend because of all of the stuff we had going on. And then tomorrow night, you can join me at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Soul Connections. And we'll do a healing meditation specifically for whatever you need to shift in your life, because it's my mission to heal the healers. And then I will do card draws for every single person who asks for one, and give you your own messages for the week and see what you need. So with that, you guys, I hope you had a beautiful holiday, and that I see you tomorrow night or later if I get an opportunity to be on Neshi's show. I haven't looked at my schedule. But no matter what, I'll see you guys tomorrow on Soul Connections at 7. With that, have a great day. Bye, guys.